Yeah.
Yeah. Once you go on camera like that.
We'll go ahead and start this morning, and if we can start off with the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning. Welcome to the July 30th, 2015 meeting for the Shawnee County Board of County Commissioners. My name is Kevin Cook. I serve as the chair, also representing District 2. Joining me today is Commissioner Shelley Mueller, representing District 1.
Morning.
And Commissioner Bob Archer, representing District 3.
Good morning.
Madam Clerk, if we can have our first item.
Our first item is item 1 under proclamations presentation regarding the progress of the Comprehensive Volunteer Management Program, Parks and Recreation.
Morning, Commissioners. Olivia with Parks and Rec. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to share the progress so far that we've had. Volunteers have always played an important role within our community or within our department for years, but we've really never had a chance to put the pen to paper to truly find the impact they have. When I was given the opportunity to become the Volunteer Services Coordinator, I wanted to build a program that would be useful internally for the management of volunteers and their services, but actually a program that people would want to come and be a part of. We want to promote that volunteers can be active, preserve the environment, develop new talents, raise awareness, to not only make a difference, but be the difference and truly believe in the impact they have on our community. That's when we got the idea for our program called Unity Builds Community. Our program statement is volunteers help maintain and expand services to the community and enhance involvement in parks and recreation. They add value by bringing skills, knowledge, and willingness to make a positive impact. They open doors to new resources and increase the quality and the amount of services that we can provide. Like I had stated before, our department is already utilizing volunteers. So how could we enhance our efforts and work together as one? The volunteer management, the first thing that we did was we wanted to foster a system-wide approach. We formed a focus group of employees who are already utilizing volunteers. Together we built a toolkit or a manual that includes new applications, policies, and procedures that will be given to all volunteers when they become a part of our group. We also built a tracking system that would help us provide monthly and yearly reports by either area, groups, or individuals. The next slide shows three valuable areas and stages to promote our program and to continue the success of it. Recruitment. Recruitment through communication or community outreach is important for us to enhance and build new partnerships. Those are just some of the groups that I've listed that that I'm either a part of or some other staffs. Utilizing our website having our website that would allow for positive interaction and that has current information and that it will appeal to all ages. Volunteer retention. Volunteer retention is important for continuity. It saves our effort into recruiting and training new volunteers. We'll do that through, of course, the beginning stages of training, the cross-training to allow volunteers, maybe they have already volunteered for a couple of months at Ted Inslee Gardens, but then it is cold, and so maybe they can go into our community centers and help during the after-school program. So all of our applications actually have multiple things that they can check off to be able to volunteer, and then just having communication with them. In recognition, it's imperative for us to build a culture of recognition that includes regular thank yous and sincerely letting the volunteers know they make a difference. Through recognition and using the best practices of volunteer management, we can increase our volunteer retention. We plan to start an incentive program with different levels of volunteer awards, socials that will allow anybody to come. Either they can come quarterly, and we'll have a big yearly event. So far, we have over 110 individual volunteers. We have had 12 groups of more than 20 people help us reach our total number of volunteers so far, which we've been tracking since January. The total number so far of just ours is 2,659. The total savings so far to Shawnee County has been $61,360.43. I know the number will continue to increase as we continue to build our program. Again, thank you for this opportunity. I look forward to the future of this program and the true impact that we will have on Shawnee County.
Any questions for Olivia?
You did a great job. You really did. And you're doing an excellent job in this new position. So
Thank you.
Takes a person with a lot of energy and a lot of heart to lead volunteers, and you certainly have that. So thank you.
Yeah, I'd also like to say thanks. I read an article recently that was sort of a blinding flash of the obvious, that when the unemployment rate goes down, so does volunteerism. And so you've got a challenge ahead of you, and I look forward to hearing additional results as we move on. Thank you, Olivia.
Thank you.
Olivia, how long have you worked with Parks and Rec?
The first time, this is my second go around. I've been here for almost 6 years.
Okay.
Yep.
And so this is kind of a new, moving into the volunteer coordinator, this is a brand new program, new opportunities.
Yes.
What would you say have been some of the greatest rewards you've had so far?
Well, I've always had a good relationship. You know, we work with recs and with park, but continuing to build that. You know, I come from the rec side per se, so continuing to build that relationship and meeting new people that actually work for our department in different areas. That being out south, I was kind of always out there. So, you know, building those relationships internally, because I feel that if we can do that first, then we can go out and really sell what we're doing to the public.
Okay. Now, what do you think some of the challenges are going to be as a volunteer coordinator?
Just continually trying to recruit people and keep them coming back and staying ahead of the curve and making sure, because there's a lot of different opportunities for people to volunteer, so we want them to come to us to do that.
Absolutely. So thank you very much. And
Thank you.
Thank you for all of your hard work, and I look forward as the commissioners will start to continue progress, and I know you're going to do great in this position.
Thank you.
Thank you, Olivia. Madam Clerk, our next item.
Item 3, consent agenda.
Is there any questions regarding the consent?
Motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Archer, seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye. All opposed. Passes 3-0. Next item.
Item 4, new business. A, County Clerk, number 1, consider all voucher payments.
Vouchers are totaling $656,057.21. Of those, the largest allocations are to $262,577.82 to solid waste and recycling, which is an enterprise fund. Parks and Recreation, $61,544.69, and then the detention facility, $56,441.21. So I have no questions. Move for approval.
Motion made by Commissioner Bueller for approval of the vouchers.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Archer. All in favor say aye. All opposed. Passes 3-0. Next item.
Item A2, consider correction orders.
I'll make a motion to approve the correction orders.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye. All opposed. Passes 3-0. Next item.
Item A3, consider resolution number 2015-64, authorizing the county clerk to destroy correction orders 2011 and prior, fish and game reports and ledger sheets 2014 and prior, and AP invoices 2010 and prior. And these, we don't have to have a destruction resolution for everything that we destroy here at the county. As far as if it's internal documents, then it's at the discretion of pretty much of the department head. But my stuff relates to most of the stuff in my office relates to countywide, and I have to follow the destruction guidelines of the Kansas State Historical Society, which is statutory. So all of these documents meet the one that's the 2014 and prior, as long as it has been audited internally, and we have had our completion of our external audit, so that's why that sounds pretty recent, but it's current on those. So everything else is according to the allowances.
How do we destroy them? Do we?
Shred them.
Okay,
Everything is shredded.
all right. Any questions?
Move to approve the resolution.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Archer to approve the resolution, seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0. Next item.
Thank you. Item B, District Court, number 1, consider approval of request to solicit requests for proposals for design-build services for remodel of the Division 5 courtrooms with an estimated cost not to exceed $150,000 and an additional $64,000 for necessary technology, and approval of request to allocate $100,000 to be paid from the Capital Outlay Fund.
Good morning, Commissioners. Kathy Linhart, District Court. You've heard us talk about this for a long time. We're finally ready to move. So we are asking for your approval today to commit $100,000 from the Capital Outlay Fund and to approve our releasing an RFP for design build to do Division 5. While the National Center for State Court was here, we looked at 4 or 5 courtrooms, finally resolved that probably Division 5 is the one we needed to start with. We're not going to need this level of equipment in every courtroom, but we need to have 1 or 2 really good trial courtrooms that are able to do digital evidence presentation and a whole variety of other sorts of things. We think we'll save some money if we have additional video conferencing, because we should be able to do some expert witnesses and things that now we have to pay for travel to get them here. So that's one way we'll use that as well. Do you have any questions for me?
Questions for Kathy regarding these requests? Commissioner Archer?
Oh, I was just going to point out that we had, I think, $111,000 left in the capital outlay fund. In granting this $100,000, that it's pretty much done for the year. So I just wanted to point that out. But I will approve the request, or make a motion to approve the request.
I'll second the motion. I wanted to check and make sure that at the budget meeting with the district attorney, we had some discussion. Have you all made contact and had any discussion about?
Not yet, but
Not
when
yet,
we
okay.
get this person who will be, I think one of the things they will have tremendous interest in is how we set up, and will want some input in how we set up that courtroom for the technology, and how you can do evidence presentation and all those sorts of things. So we will definitely include them when we get this person from Mission Electronics in to give us a second bid on that specific courtroom.
I look forward to the bid. I think that this is long overdue. The courtroom is long in need of repairs, from the carpets to the jury chambers where the jury sits, just the entire operation. So I also approve of this request. So Commissioner Archer, you've made a motion to approve the expenditure.
And I'll second, and this is just the beginning. I mean, this
It
doesn't
is.
this solves one.
It solves one, but one way we want to really
Just
use
start,
this
yeah.
is we will do a constant evaluation process and keep you updated in terms of what's next. You know, I mean, we'll learn a lot from doing one courtroom about the right way to do it, the things that are most valuable, the things we need or don't need in other locations. And all of our judges are committed to utilizing different types of equipment in different locations for different types of court proceedings, so.
And I appreciate that approach and the fact that we can't do all of them at once
Right.
anyway, so let's do this one,
Mhm.
learn from it and go from there.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Absolutely, I absolutely appreciate that, so. Motion made by Commissioner Archer, seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0. And we look forward to coming back with some plans.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next item.
Item C, corrections, number 1, consider authorization and execution of contract C 286-2015, the repair of the emergency generator at the jail at a cost of $28,271.18 from the contingency fund.
Good morning, Commissioners. Brian Cole, Director, Department of Corrections. Before you today is a request to repair, emergency repair of our generator. It's one of 2 of our biggest generators. To give you an actual idea how big this generator probably is as big as this part of the room total. Over the years, it's the original generator. When they started building the kitchen, and I'll come back probably in a month to go over some issues with the kitchen and just an update, that Westar was going to come in, replace a transformer, and during that they asked us to say during this time to go to generator power. We found out this generator kept kicking off because it was getting overheated. When we called in our sole source person, Foley, to come in, they realized that the radiator part of this was malfunctioning. They did a thorough review of it, and rather than replace one of these for around $800,000, we looked at just the repair of the radiator. They said that over the time of flushing the radiator, the sediment and stuff like that is getting in the coils and is causing the generator to shut down. So they're able to go in, replace these items, and to be able to get it back online. This generator, the importance of it is obviously is during emergency situations, but it also serves for the backup power for all the locking mechanisms in the facility, the air conditioning, the HVAC systems, and so forth. The cost of this is $28,271.18. I did meet with Betty Griner regarding this. She did agree with me that this could be used as an emergency purchase and that the contingency funds could be used. I also did have our maintenance talk to our facilities directors as well regarding this matter. We are going to look at different ways that maybe being able to rewire maybe multiple generators in the future. I'm going to get a hold of Bill and we're going to talk to our contract that might bring some more efficiency. But at this time, we do need to get this fixed for emergency purchases.
Okay. Questions regarding this request?
Move approval of the contract.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Bueller for approval of the expenditure, seconded by Commissioner Archer. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, passes 3-0. Next item.
Item C2, consider authorization and execution of contract C287-2015 with Swank Motion Pictures, Inc. to provide video presentations to inmates and juveniles without violating the individual or home performance licensing restriction in an amount of $1,942.75 for 1 year, November 2nd, 2015 through October 31st, 2016, to be paid through the offender commissary account.
Good morning, Brian Cole again. Please don't let the name of the company sway you on the types of movies that we do show at the Department of Corrections. But this is an annual contract that we have that allows us to, or prevents us from violating any type of individual or home licensing. Back in this was years ago when I was over contracts, we were contacted by a company and people with the licensing that let us know that you can't just bring in educational movies on your own, that you have to have this license. We've had this in place for many years, and this is just a contract that we do budget for. It is paid because this is for the wellness of the inmates. These are educational movies as well as health, maintenance during different types of the year, specific hand washing, health, you name it, all kinds of, but these are all educational type programs and videos that we show at the department. And I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions? I'll make a motion to approve the request.
I'll second, but just to clarify, you control.
Yes, our program staff control all that. This isn't anything that the inmates get to choose. We set up a program, a list, and also we use these for orientation videos for entry into the facility, which will go along with our accreditation as well.
Thank you.
So motion made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, passes 3-0. Thank you very much, Brian.
Thank you very much.
Next item.
Item D, Public Works Solid Waste. Number 1, consider approval of the project budget for replacement of the Southwest 85th Street Bridge over a tributary to the Wakarusa River at a cost of $523,900.
Good morning, Commissioners. Tom Block with Public Works and Solid Waste. As mentioned in the memo, this is request to approve just the budget at this point for the replacement of this bridge, which is on Southwest 85th Street, about 0.2 of a mile east of Auburn Road. This bridge is functionally obsolete and was built nearly 100 years ago, back in 1919. The funding for this project would come completely from the current 2004 countywide half-cent sales tax. So if there's any questions regarding this, I'd be happy to try to answer them.
Questions regarding this?
Yeah, no.
Commissioner Murphy?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Could this money be used to replace the Willard Bridge?
I suppose a portion of it could be.
Okay. Well, it just seems to me that we don't have a comprehensive funding strategy yet for the Willard Bridge, which is our number one priority for county bridges. So I have a problem committing money to somewhere else other than our number one priority. So I won't be supporting this plan at this point. And I think the Tiger Grant is going to play a big role in our funding strategy. So perhaps in September or October, we can reconsider this. But that would be my take on this
Tom,
request.
Tom, can you maybe talk to us a little bit about, it's functionally obsolete. It was built in 1919. I would say that we probably got our money's worth out of it from that age, but does the term functionally obsolete translate into it needing to be replaced immediately, a high priority, at some point? What is its priority?
Yes, high priority. Typically, there are two different types of categories: functionally obsolete and structurally deficient. In bridges that are functionally obsolete mean that essentially their dimensions and the physical size of the structure are not adequate for today's types of equipment, machinery, vehicles, things of that nature. When this was built back in 1919, the farm machinery was not the size it is today. Trucks were not the size, the loads that they are today, and that is really what it means as being functionally obsolete. Structurally deficient means when the loadings, the bridge is not able to meet the loadings that you want to have to carry everyday traffic. So you may have to reduce the weight limits when a bridge is structurally deficient.
But I think there's merit in what Commissioner Archer raises, that our top priority was the Willard Bridge. That's the one that's fracture critical.
Exactly.
That's a safety risk and potentially, and that's the highest priority. We're monitoring that weekly. We're focusing in on that. Why wouldn't we, or why shouldn't we be prioritizing this $500,000 towards that project as opposed to this one?
Well, we have bridges all over the county. We have residents all over the county. They all need bridges. This 500,000, while it's true it could be used for that, it still won't get us come close to what we need to replace the Willard Bridge. And I tend to think that we actually do kind of have a strategy for the replacement of the Willard Bridge. We don't know if all the pieces have fit quite yet, but we've discussed it. It's true we do have to wait to see where they fall into place. But I guess it is truly at the discretion of the commission of which direction we go on this. If we want to wait, we can. I guess it's just our recommendation that this would be something we would look to do, and would be constructed in 2016. So this would give us the opportunity to at least get design going, and then by the time the design is done, we will know where we stand on other funding options for the Willard Bridge. So at that time, we could just get design done, and then it will be ready to go whenever the time comes to actually construct it, which we would bid it, probably later this winter, sometime this winter. But it would at least keep the project moving forward.
At this time, and we are at the beginning part of August right now. Our expectation is that we will know about the Tiger Grant by September, October.
I believe so.
Somewhere
I've
in that
never given
range.
any firm deadline,
Right.
but that's where we think we're gonna
I mean,
hear, when we're gonna hear.
we are at the pleasure of the federal government, which has all of those expectations with it. It'll get here when it gets here, but with an understanding somewhere around the September, October. Is there harm to the county? Is there anything that we are jeopardizing fundamentally by holding off on approval of this budget until we know a little bit more about our funding sources for the Willard Bridge?
potential delay in that if we don't get the design started, we may not be in a position to bid it to be able to start construction in spring of next year, March of next year. That would be the one thing. Now, I don't know, if we waited a few months, could our consultant get the design done? I guess I'd have to talk to them to see if they'd be able to get it done in time to be able to bid it, to keep it on schedule for construction. Because typically, we try to start our construction on these types of projects in March.
Mhm.
And that means you typically need to have them bid in by January. So if we waited till October or November to get started on design, 2 months, 3 months, typically that's kind of pretty close as far as trying to get a design done. And if we need to acquire any right away, getting utilities relocated, then we could be pushing it. So it's potentially pushing it back a year.
Tom, do you think that it would be possible that we might have a presentation at a future commission meeting of the bridge projects that we currently have, going through the strategic plan that we have with Public Works on our bridges, so that we as a commission and the public kind of see how many bridge projects we have, what the priorities are, just looking at overall the big picture. We approve almost monthly various bridge projects, and I think it would be good for us to review the comprehensive bridge strategy so that we know, obviously Willard's got the most attention. We've talked about Willard a lot, and it's at the top, but also for the commission to know kind of what other projects we've got coming, what other needs we have, what other priorities.
Yeah, we've already, I don't know if I've ever given that presentation to this commission per se, but we basically have that developed, so that would not be difficult to do.
I don't know that I've seen it.
I can't recall. I have a PowerPoint presentation. I don't recall. It might have been over a couple of years ago that we'd actually given that. I can't recall.
Commissioner Archer?
Well, and I think that's an excellent idea. But the Willard is the only one that is fracture critical and dangerous at this point. Is that correct?
We have, I believe one other. There's one on 94th Street, but we are getting it down. This current sales tax that's going on is really helping us whittle it down to those. So Willard Bridge, I think one other, if I'm not mistaken. And that is one that we actually are hoping to get awarded some grant funding to help with that project from KDOT. We'll find that out later this year. That's a fairly substantial project, but I think once we get that one done, then it will be just the Willard Bridge.
But 85th Street doesn't have the traffic volume that the Willard Bridge would have,
No, it would not.
and so, Commissioner Bueller,
Total project cost, $523,000. That's $375,000 for construction. And then design and appraisal, acquisition, easement, but the total cost is $523,900.
Budgeted, yes.
Of
Hopefully we'll come in
estimated
under
cost.
that, but yes, that's.
But that is from the 2004 countywide house and sales tax. Those funds for these projects, for these bridges, are from the 2004 countywide
Correct,
sales
the
tax.
current, yes, the
Right.
current one.
I mean, I guess I don't want to pit bridge against bridge or sections of the county against one section of the county. I don't think that's a good idea. I think when our staff looks at the transportation system in Shawnee County, they look at all roads and all bridges. And it's just unfortunate that Willard has such a high price tag. But the fact that we need to manage and maintain all of our bridges in Shawnee County, and again, this is money that, as Mr. Block said, we are trying to get some smaller projects finished. We have set aside $6 million from that 2004 sales tax to go towards the Willard Bridge. I guess in my opinion, this discussion needs to take place around the interlocal, and again, around how much we have in the interlocal for sales tax for bridges. and stresses all the more, I hate to say this, the reason that the Willard Bridge should have been on the sales tax ballot question. In the absence of it, how much more we get designated for bridges is all that much more important for the new sales tax. So, I'm gonna move approval. I think we need to go forward with it. I don't know if I'll get a second, but I think, again, we're relying on our experts in public works to keep our transportation system going. They use other funds, I know with some of the federal dollars for bridges, Tom, you use some of those smaller allocations for the federal, there's another one down in southwest Shawnee County out by Dover, that we're using some federal funds for that, but you cannot get the amount of federal funds that we need for
And
Willard.
that particular project is a special program that KDOT has every year where you apply and then they provide 80% and we provide a 20% match. That's what we're trying to do with the one on 94th Street,
Right.
also, which is separate from our annual federal obligation authority that we receive. Like for instance, we're using some of the federal obligation authority. We've used that on several different projects, roadway projects, but 29th Street project right now, we're using some of that federal obligation authority that we exchange into state funds to help pay for that project. And you know, I think we used some on Croker Road several years ago. We used some on 46th Street that we completed last year. So it is several different, you know, roads and bridges that we use that fund for.
Commissioner Bueller, with all due respect, the reason we're in the position with Willard Bridge now is that we kicked it down the road as long as we possibly could, and because of the price tag. And this commission, all three of us have committed to that being the highest priority for the county. What I would offer is an amendment to your motion. I would offer as an amendment that we approve $32,000. Now, that would be the design, plans, specs, and geology. That design, I would assume, would not expire, and that we would be able to use that at a later time, reserving the remainder of the funds for us to have a discussion about what we're going to do and looking at our funding sources. That way we don't lose any ground for possible construction of the bridge. The Public Works Department is still moving forward, but we haven't committed the lion's share of these funds.
Well, and keep in mind, commissioners, that this is just a budget. And the contract for the design would then have to come back before you all to approve. So what you're saying, I hear what you're saying, and that would keep the project moving, but this right now is just the budget, so it really means nothing's going to happen. It's just that we are basically committing ourselves to saying this is what we think the project is going to cost. And if it changes for the worse, hopefully not, then we would have to come back and get approval from you all again. But, so I don't have a problem with what you're thinking. But again, this is the project, this is just the budget for the whole thing, and then we would individually approve the design, and then later individually approve the construction.
When a body sets a budget, there is an expectation that that money is committed and is no longer available for other projects. That's the expectation in their budget.
Mhm.
And so if this body was to commit $523,900, the expectation from your department should be that that money is now allocated for it.
Okay, I understand that.
It would be unfair, and it would be a very bad precedent for us to say, sure, we'll commit to that budget, but we're really not gonna spend the money. That sends an unfair message, and I think it speaks very poorly of a board that if they're not going to commit to the funds, that they're not going to commit to the project. You know, I do think that design is something that should be moved forward, so we have that ready, but, and I would move, again, my amendment is for that amount. Commissioner Archer.
Madam Clerk, wouldn't that be a substitute motion from the one that?
You would have two options. Either Commissioner Bueller's motion could just die for lack of second and have a new motion, or you could have a substitute motion. Am I proof?
Good question.
And
Yes.
I was to say, we can sure live with that. I understand what you're saying, the way you described it.
Mhm.
I can see where that line of thinking, so I would have no issues with that.
My question is, Tom, how many more bridges do you have in the queue?
Trying to think how many we have yet to do from this current sales tax. I know there's, beyond this sales tax, I know we've identified already 27 that we are looking at doing. I believe we've got 94th Street is one that we're looking at on this current sales tax, but we were hoping just to use supplemental monies from this sales tax program, hopefully getting a grant from KDOT that would pay for the majority of it. I think we've got, I think we have 3 or 4 yet to do. Well, yeah,
3 or 4 yet to do.
as
for
part of the current
this,
sales
for
tax.
End of 15, going into 16.
Yeah, I believe so. I don't have that list in front of me.
And I get-
So does that, what kind of discussion then will you have? Will you stop then bringing any bridge projects to us? I mean, what's the result of this discussion on the rest of the bridge replacements that you have going into 15 and 16?
I'm not sure if I understand the question.
How
What's
many
the-
more bridge projects are you contemplating bringing forward to this commission?
Oh, I'm probably
4 or 5?
3 to 4, I think.
But again, I go back to, I think, Tom, it's time for us to have that overall presentation of all our bridges, so that we as a commission, I think no department head anticipates that every request is going to be a blanket approval. We do go through each budget, we go through each project and have that discussion here. And I think it's unfair to, Commissioner Mueller, I don't know if this is what you're going at, that us not taking action today is somehow an indication to Tom and his staff to not bring any bridge projects to us. I don't think that's what's being discussed here today. It's not on my part. I would not anticipate Tom saying, well, we're not gonna replace bridges if that's the tone of the commission. We should have continuing discussions of bridges and projects. A healthy discussion is healthy for the community.
Well, and I agree, but we set priorities, and we spend our money based on our priorities. Number one, we talk about the $6 million. That was just an estimate. What this commission committed to was to spend any spillover money from the 2004 sales tax. So that could be 6 million, it could be 7 or 8 million, depending on the decisions we make going into the end of the 2004 sales tax. I'll second your motion, Commissioner Cook, if that's the appropriate move at this point.
I think that procedurally what we would need to do, Commissioner Mueller, you've made the motion. I've offered a substitute if you would be willing to accept that.
That's fine.
Yeah, we can live with that.
Right.
I mean, essentially, as I understand it, would be the project budget for the design. And then we have to come back before you with a design contract. And that, in my opinion, keeps the project moving and buys us some time to get more information later in the year, is where we proceed from there.
So at this time, there's been a motion to approve a budget of $32,000 for design, plans, specs, and geology for the 85th Street Bridge over a tributary to the Wakarusa River. Motion made by Commissioner Cook. I'm just looking at council to make sure I'm saying that correctly.
Rich? He's got a cold. He can't hear very well.
Making sure I make my motion correct. It is motion by Commissioner Cook.
Yes.
Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
He did second.
Seconded by Commissioner Archer. All,
May I make a
Commissioner Bueller.
comment?
Yes.
I take a little offense to kicking the can down the road. I'll just say it right now, because I am kicking and screaming every chance I have had to try to get funding for this bridge. And I do believe that our Public Works Department has done everything they possibly can. So at some point, yes, this bridge needs to be funded. It has a huge price tag. But I think that there is every effort being made to fund this bridge. It just depends. There's a little difference, a big difference of opinion on how it's gonna get funded. There's a lot of different ways it can happen.
And Commissioner Bueller,
But
we have known about the Willow Bridge.
we have
It did
for a
not-
long time. Ever since I became a commissioner, this has been an issue, and even before that. But I have been an advocate for this bridge for a long time. But it is a huge price tag, and it is not the only bridge in the county, and it's not it affects transportation throughout the county, and bridges affect transportation throughout the county. So I just want to go on the record that I do take offense to that, and I take that as you know, to the Public Works Department and everybody else in this community who's been working very hard on this project.
We've known about the Willow Bridge for a number of years. You, as an advocate, advocated for reserve funds to build up the bridge fund for Willow Bridge. Those funds got diverted to other things. What I mean by that is we could have tried to work on this much sooner, but due to other priorities in the county, the Willow Bridge went to the wayside. It became from a wayside project to an emergency project with a deterioration.
Right.
And that's where we found ourselves in 2015, with it being the highest priority. That's what I mean by that. We put off until we couldn't put off any longer. Not that you haven't been advocating for it, but that you tried, the reserve funds were there, and the reserve funds got taken for other projects.
But let's don't pit one part of the county against another part of the county on bridges. I think that's unfair.
We are commissioners for the whole county.
We are.
Motion made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Archer. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Motion passes 3-0. Next item.
Item D2, consider approval of change order number 1, final to contract C 72-2015, reflecting a decrease in an amount of $7,437.62 for the Southwest Glick Road over the Wakarusa River project.
Commissioners, Tom Block here with Public Works and Solid Waste. This too is a Public Works item. As mentioned in the memo, that project is completed. We tallied up the final quantities for that project, and the final change order, as mentioned, will be a decrease in the construction contract amount by $7,437.62, and it is our recommendation that this change order be approved.
Any discussion?
Move to approve.
Motion made by Commissioner Archer for approval. I will second by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0. Next
Thank you.
item.
Item E, Parks and Recreation, number 1, consider approval of letters supporting the Highland Park NIA, Valley Park NIA, and Central Park NIA applications for empowerment grant funding from the City of Topeka Neighborhood Relations Department Community Development Block Grant Program for park improvements to Hillcrest Park, Big Shunga Park, and Central Park.
Excuse me. Good morning, Commissioners. John Knight, Parks and Recreation. This is, to give you just a real brief overview, this is funds that come to the city of Topeka. There is a committee that's put together that reviews these type of programs. From the beginning, at that table is Bill Rippon, our park planner. He begins working with these different groups then. As they begin to divvy up where the priorities of where they should spend that money, Bill works even closer with these neighborhood improvement associations. What you've got now is what the department would like to see in the successful projects that were selected. Bill looks at those. At times in the last several decades, several of the parks the county has inherited has amenities in it that probably made sense when they made that choice, but no longer make sense. Having Bill on that committee from the beginning keeps this from happening again. This is just your request to, as part of the application process, to sign off on this, and then it'll move forward. If you have any more detailed questions about that, Bill is here this morning, can help answer some of those.
Any questions for John or Bill? Commissioner Archer?
No, I will move to approve and point out that I appreciate and compliment you for working with the NIAs, and also I know you're reaching out to city councilmen in describing the master plan to them and working hand in hand with them on moving Parks and Rec forward. So, again, I'll move to approve.
I'll second, and John, I know I've talked with you about this before, but doing a formal presentation to the city council about the master plan. I think it's important to have those one-on-one conversations, but then I think a formal presentation to the city council about the master plan. And
We're tentatively scheduling that for late August and early
very good,
September.
thank you. Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Archer, second by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0.
Thank you,
John.
Commissioners.
Item F, Audit Finance. Number 1, consider approval of request to sell surplus property through Purple Wave.
Good morning, Betty Griner, Director of Administrative Services. Our first item here is ask your approval to sell items on Purple Wave. This is just our routine process of surplus. As we accumulate surplus items that are not needed or wanted by other departments, then we go out on Purple Wave and sell these items.
Any discussion? I'll make a motion to approve the sale of these items on Purple Wave.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Archer. All in favor say aye. All opposed? It's approved 3-0. Commissioner Archer, get ready to buy your 500-gallon steel water tank. Next item.
Been looking for one.
Item F2, consider authorization and execution of contract C288-2015 with Cochran Head Vic and Company, PA, to perform the audit for Shawnee County and the Shawnee County Health Agency for the year ending December 31st, 2015, at a cost of $94,400.
As the clerk has said, this is just asking to engage our current auditors for the audit for the year of 2015. This is both for the county and for the health agency. The health agency is required to have a single audit because of the grant funds they receive. As you know, we are planning to transfer the federally qualified health clinic at the end of the year. And because of that transfer, I really think that it is in the best interest of the county that we retain the services of the current auditors. They have a history with the health agency and know the way, their workings and the accounts and the accounting of that. I believe with that transition, this really it just makes sense to stay with them for one more year. I'll also come back with you later to engage a closeout audit for that transfer of the health clinic, and that we cannot really engage in that until we actually have an agreement with Grace Med on that, and we actually can determine the scope of that. But there again, this audit will be the basis for that closeout audit of those transfers. So that's the reason I'm coming to you and asking you to approve this engagement letter with them. The timing on the audit will be the same. It will be completed by July 1 of 2016, which was the same date we had this year. The fees will stay the same as they were for 14, which were also the same as they were for 13. They did go down between the 2012 audit and the 2013 audit by $11,000, and then the fees have stayed the same since that time. If you have any additional questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Any additional questions for Betty? Betty, just to note, when we do the 2016, or when we move forward, once we have no longer have the health agency, we're looking at that decreasing. If I'm looking at the contract, approximately, there's a number that's allocated for just the health agency.
Yes, but not necessarily. We will have to look at the grant funds that the local health department receives, and so we may still be required to have a single audit because of their grant funds.
Okay, very good. I'll make a motion to approve the contract with Cochran Head and Vic.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0. Next item.
Item F3, consider approval of request to transfer the clawback payment of $424,000 into a special project account for use in the upgrade of the current IFA system to the next generation One Solution system.
This is a request to transfer revenue from the general account or general fund to a special project account. These funds that came in were not budgeted because of the uncertainty of them, and they cannot be really a budgeted item. So what I would like to do is transfer these funds into this special project account for the use of our upgrade of our IFAS system. That system, we went on to the IFAS system in 2008. They are, SunGard, who is the vendor for this system, is upgrading that IFAS system to a new generation, which they call One Solution. In software years, if you, we have been on this for 7 years, and so that is a normal lifespan for a software. SunGard is essentially requiring us to do this. One of their communications they sent out says, you will still be able to receive support, and this is talking about the IFAS system. However, no further hot fixes or patches will be issued for these products after 2015. So this is something we have to do, but there will be many benefits also. There will be a lot of benefits in efficiencies in processing. The workflow recommendations that we received from the business process review that we went through. Now, those that we have implemented already, but some of those we were not able to implement on IFAS. It needs this new technology to do that. We will be able to implement those efficiencies. We will be looking at the whole structure of the finance piece on the general ledger piece to see about reporting, if we can set it up so that we have more reporting options and get you better reporting information. Another thing that will be improved by this is it will be an updated application online module, so that will be much more user-friendly and much more effective in the application process. So this is just our starting point. I didn't want us to really move ahead into talking details about what we'll actually need, what the costs are, until we had a funding source. So what I would like to do is just get approval to put this into this separate account. So this is the funding source for this. Then we can look in negotiating with them, talking with them. We've already had one initial meeting that we had with IT and the clerk and their representatives when we were at the Sugar Conference down in Atlanta. But like I say, didn't go any further until we really had a funding source for this. I'd also like to request that any money that is not used for this, that we set aside, then be transferred at the end of the project, be transferred into the capital outlay fund for any future projects. I believe Pat and Shane are both here too. If you have any questions of a technical nature on the One Solution product.
Betty, I think it's important to note, and just how it was phrased, there's a difference between unbudgeted and unknown. We knew that there was a high potential, very probable that this would be coming in, but it cannot be budgeted due to its uncertainty. So there's a fundamental difference between unbudgeted and unknown.
Yes.
Okay. And so,
Well, and they do comply with the contract we have with them, or the agreement.
Yeah, the absence of hot fixes does it for me. I don't know. There was a survey of the Fortune 500 CEOs, and the question is, what is your company's greatest challenge? And the number one issue was the rapid pace of technological change. And number two on the list was cybersecurity. So they have the Fortune 500. We have the same challenges in the operation of Shawnee County. And having said that, I'll make a motion to approve the request.
Commissioner Bueller? Thoughts?
I have a question.
Yes, absolutely.
Betty, this money could be used for anything, correct?
That's correct.
So it could go into the general fund?
Yes,
It
That's
could,
correct.
could go to any other project
that's correct.
that the county
This
has
is
to-
just my recommendation.
This is
to-
your
to
recommendation, and
allocate it
and
to
I-
this, but yes.
and I respect that.
Yes.
But this money is a clawback, one-time money. It could go to any purpose,
Yes, that's correct.
any priority that the county has. Okay. I just wanted to get clarification of that. Thank you.
There's been a motion made by Commissioner Archer. Is there a second on the motion? All second. All in favor of the motion, say aye. All opposed? Approves 3-0. Thank you. Next item.
Item G, County Councilor, number 1, consider authorization and execution of contract C 289-2015 with Thomas McGee LC for workers' compensation administrative services for 2-year term beginning August 1st, 2015 and ending July 31st, 2017, with a minimum fee of $45,000.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jim Crowell, Assistant County Counselor. As described by the clerk, this is a proposed 2-year contract with Thomas McGee to act as our third-party administrator for workers' compensation claims administration services. This contract follows an RFP process that was submitted. We're recommending this contract as a result of that RFP process, as Thomas McGee is the best and most responsive bidder to the request for proposal that was issued. I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have about the program. I'm happy that they submitted the best and most responsive proposal. We have a good program going with them. They have been serving as our TPA since August 2006, and I'm happy to recommend continuing that relationship.
Discussion regarding the item.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Bueller for approval, seconded by Commissioner Archer. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Passes 3-0. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next item.
Item 5, Administrative Communications. Number 1, recognition of upcoming major community-wide events for the month of August for Parks and Recreation.
Good morning, Commissioners. Randy Luby, Parks and Recreation. Hard to believe, but summer is winding down and the kids will be starting back to school in a couple weeks. But we do have several events in August. The one event, first of all, I want to talk about was scheduled for August 8th, and that was our big screen Under the Stars movie out at Bettis, but we moved that to July 31st to be part of the National Parks and Recreation Month of July. We've had, I believe, 4 or 5 events and very successful to help promote Parks and Recreation this past month. And with that, we passed out some pretty cool sunglasses. Shelley, you're going to have to fight Mr. Rich over there for them orange ones. But I know the public really enjoyed the events. We had the Waterpalooza last week, and I think we had close to 500 people, she said, show up for that. So I like the look, Commissioner Archer. But this event
from here now.
This event, again, is this tomorrow night at Bettis. The gates open at 8. It's from 9 to 11. It's a free event for the entire family. They're playing Toy Story. And this year, the public was able to vote on the movie they wanted to see, and that was the one they chose. So it's going to be a busy night tomorrow. And then on August 1st, we have Ballet in the Park. It's put on by the Kansas Ballet Association. It's August 1st from 10 to 11:30. It's a fun event for the family and little kids to come out there. They are putting on a show called The Fairy Doll, which the Toy Story comes to life after the store closes at night. So it ought to be fun for the kids. We have also August 1st is the 10th annual Topeka Big Chunga Run with a 8K run and a 5K walk. Again, it takes place at Crestview Community Center. very popular. The proceeds of this help support the Topeka West cross-country team. Event, we also have August 2nd is the evening concert in the park. It's Call Valley Cornet Band. It's free. It's another fun family event. Hopefully the weather will stay fairly cool this coming weekend. One big event that we have is on August 8th is the annual National Night Out on Crime. And there's locations all over Shawnee County. The ones that we participate in are Central Park, Chesney Park, Rice Community Center, Edgewood Park, Austin Park, Oakland Community Center, Ripley Park, Seabrook Park, and Ward Mead Park. And I believe Safe Streets on their website has a location for all the other locations, and it's a great event. I know Sheriff Jones, you may not recognize him, but he's the man in the suit back there. He works very hard on this, and it's really a great event for the community to come out. We also have on the 19th of August a concert at Gage Park Amphitheater at 7. The Topeka Blues Society will be playing. It's another free concert. And the Indian Festival is August 29th at Big Gage from 10 to 2. You can learn about the India culture and even try some of their foods. The last event that was scheduled for August was the Legends Triathlon. This was a new event. We just got word last week that they didn't get enough participants to go with it this year. It's rather new. We do have a contract with them to try it again in September of next year, and maybe a little more time to promote it. It'll be able to go. But it's going to be a busy month, and open for any questions.
Any questions for Randy? All right,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioners, Tom Black with Public Works and Solid Waste. I just want to give you an update on the mill and overlay work that we are doing. Our crews are currently overlaying 61st Street. We hope we will be able to complete that by tomorrow. Yesterday's rain set us back, so we're still hoping we can complete that work tomorrow, but beginning Monday on Southeast 45th Street between Tecumseh and McMahon, our contractor Bettis will be out there milling that road surface, and then our crews will be coming in middle of next week to begin the overlaying of that road work. So those folks out in that area hope you'll be aware. We'll have signage up to let them know it's coming up, but just want to let you know that is what the schedule is for the mill and overlay right now.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. Larry Moore, Shawnee County Treasurer. Just a quick note, our 2014 delinquent real estate property tax list will be published beginning this coming Monday for 3 consecutive weeks. That's per state statute. It is also currently available on the Treasurer's website.
Thank you.
I just wanted to remind the public that our public hearing for the 2016 budget will be Monday, August the 3rd at 5:30 here in Commission Chambers. That's the opportunity for the public to come and address the Commission on their thoughts and concerns on the 2016 budget.
Thank you very much.
HR Cook, General Manager, Kansas Expo Center. To add on to Randy's free event weekend, don't forget Shawnee County Fair is at the Kansas Expo Center. Starts this evening with Family Fun Night. There's free ice cream for everybody starting at 6 o'clock and the bouncy rides. Tomorrow night is the pancake, or not the pancake feed, but watermelon feed. Saturday morning is the pancake feed, sponsored by Perkins Pancakes, 7 a.m. to 12. And do not forget the celebrity swine contest and the celebrity goat milking contest in the afternoon. So there is a free concert Friday night. I don't know which one signed up for what, but the Zach Emery Band, Cruise Line Drumland, and the Jared Daniels Band perform free Friday night. So there is no reason in this county for someone to go out and do something for free. We do have a concert announcement tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. We hope to raise a ruckus with that announcement, and it should be a hoot come October. Thanks.
Any other administrative communications this morning? Commissioner Bueller?
I'll just add to the free events. There is a barbecue contest in downtown, or actually at the City Park in Rossville, Friday and Saturday. So if you want to go experience good barbecue, I think they have 14 different vendors out there, and so good times. And then, of course, yes, encourage everybody to attend the fair.
Thank you. Commissioner Archer?
Yeah, I wanted to encourage everybody to attend the fair. I regret that I had a conflict as far as milking goats and whatever the other thing that is. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
You know, I had on my list to talk about our public comment, and Betty got that one. And I had on my list to talk about the fair, and HR got that one. So that just leaves me to talk about the National Night Out. We do have National Night coming up. It's next week. On Monday, we will have a presentation from Safe Streets to talk about the National Night Out and all of the different aspects and venues. So stay tuned, and it should be a hoot. It's still somebody's line. Next item.
Item 6, executive session.
There is a need for an executive session to discuss non-elected personnel. I would ask for a half hour, and then this to be with the commission, and then with Betty Griner, and with Jim Crow, and with council if necessary. So, it's a motion.
Second.
For the purposes of
Non-elected personnel.
non-elected personnel, can I add consultation with?
We have time on that one.
Okay,
We'll have to do that.
all right.
All right.
Thank you. Okay,
Okay.
stand corrected.
I'll go ahead and add consultation with the attorney just in case we
Okay.
need that as well. So, motion made for,
Second. Or do we-
motion made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by, I'll say Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye. All opposed. We are adjourned into executive session for a half hour.
Thank you.
back from executive session, no action is taken, we are adjourned.
You got fair activities going on this weekend?
Yeah.